How you doing? A digital camera. Well, it doesn't look like a digital camera, but that was the whole idea. I wanted something that would look like a 1940s camera, or that would fit in if I were doing steampunk or anything like that. So the whole of this film is how I created it and why I created it. Let's get cracking. There's only so far you can take the actual mock-up of building this. And I've worked out that that's going to be my camera unit. It's about 6 inches square, and this is going to be my big bellows, and my main micro camera is going to sit in there. And what I need to do is to make this into a bellows type unit, and I'll use small pieces of ply, about a quarter, then an eighth, about a quarter, then an eighth, and that'll give me the illusion of shadows, so it'll look like bellows. So when I put the next one to it, you can see what I mean. I'm developing a shadow line there. So if I get about 4 of them stacked together, that'll give me the illusion of bellows. What I've got to do now is work out how tight, really, I can get this so that I can get my image from the camera into here, and then I'm going to use a small mirror, 45 degrees angle, and then I'm going to have to build some sort of hooded unit on the front here so I can use as a viewfinder. On the bellows itself, this is the second unit in. What I need to do is on here mark up 4 sections where I can drill in, and then from the drill point then go across with the jigsaw so that that's cleaned out the section there. It's just basically a lot of guesswork. So if I mark this across here and do the same on the other 4 sides. I've just got a jigsaw between these 2 lines now. Well, actually on the line. That's fairly clean. It's not 100%, but that's fairly clean. I've just got to do that now on the 3 sides, and then clean it up where I've actually not nicked it enough. I've used this method before. This is one of my pinhole cameras, so you can see what I mean about the shadow line, and it looks like bellows. I'm getting to that interesting stage now where I start to put things together. I've made so many drawings and so many mock-ups of what I thought it was going to end up like. I've changed my mind at least 3 times up to here. During the mock-ups I was making, I made this little pocket. That's where the camera's actually going to sit. And I made the mock-up, and I made it out of cardboard. And I don't really want to strip this down again, cut another fresh piece and put a piece of ply in there. So what I'm going to do is give it a bit of watered down Gorilla Glue to give it a bit more residual strength. I mean, I'm hoping these cameras that I mess around with and create are going to last a few years, when I'm gone even. This will soak into the basically cardboard, isn't it? And I'm hoping it'll give it a bit more strength. I could do it putting varnish on, but I've got this wood glue nice and handy, so I'll just give it a quick coat of that. I've used this trick several times, and it does give the cardboard a considerable strength, really, when you think it's only compressed paper, isn't it? Coating it on the inside as well. I don't want it to get damp, and then the front piece that I'm relying on where my camera's going to fit starts to fall apart. Before I put this camera together and then I can't get at the inside anymore, I'm going to give it a quick coat of matte paint on the inside to help cut down on the reflection. This paint, I've had it probably 3 or 4 years, far too long for a tin of paint. And unfortunately, as you go down a tin of paint, it starts to get a thick skin on the top of it. This is water-based paint, so all I do so often is put a drop more water with it and get it back beaten into life. I'll give you a tip. If you've got a tin of paint and every time you use about half of it, then next time you're going to use it, in 2 or 3 years time, you've got a thick skin on top of the paint. Now if you know you're not going to use a tin for a long time, make sure you seal it well, get it firmly pressed down and store it upside down. What happens is that thick skin is on the inside there, and when you turn it over and get at it in a few years time, there's no skin on the top of the paint. So simple. Manufacturers don't want you to know that. I must have had this tin of paint probably 30 years. That's going some for a tin of paint. Although I seem to be assembling this pretty quickly now, I've done this before. Getting to the stage where you start to carry on building it and you're looking very happy with it, and then all of a sudden you forget something deep inside the box, and then you realise you've glued it and nailed it together. So what I think I'm going to do is the front section here, I'm going to put a series of screws down both sides, so that if I do run into a problem, i.e. I'm going to fix the mirror here at an angle, or just get in to paint the inside black, I can quickly unscrew it and fit it together. I've noticed that although I've taken reasonable care with assembling this, that the ply I'm using is quite warped. It's almost starting to bow back on itself. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just, you know, in the nature of the wood and how long I've had it. I'm going to use, believe it or not, plasterboard nails. I found these very versatile and easy to drop. They're quite thin. The shank is thin. It's got a nice good screw and it does hold pretty well. I don't want to split this timber. It's very thin that I'm putting it in underneath. I've put a marker on the end of my drill because I don't want to drill any deeper than that. So fingers crossed it'll work. Now make sure I put that near enough middle. Don't rush it. Now I'm not going to countersink it at this point. I just want to make sure that it goes in and bites. Everything's still fitting nice and it's holding. That's going exactly how I wanted it, just the way I wanted it to do actually. It's just getting to that point where it's going to bite and pull together. That's it. That's held pretty well. I keep having a look at the side, but I'll countersink them later. I've actually got some, I bought these off of Temu. These are little corner clamps and they do help when you're putting something together. I don't know whether if I'd trust them all. They're a bit plasticky, but they do for now while I'm trying to assemble. Now you can see this one's not in true alignment. So if I just give that a tap over, hopefully that's going to be okay. Let's have a look. There we go, one more. Fingers crossed. I don't know why we say that. Just don't take it too deep. All I need is for that to keep nice and straight. I don't know whether I'm going to put 3 either side, but that seems to be working, and it's not split the timber on the inside, which I've just looked down there. Thank goodness. Wow. Right, that's held quite firm. Have a look on the other side. And you can see how much this is twisting out of joint already. So I've got to knock that back into position and hold that tight. And I finally got around to placing the mirror inside. That's about 45-degree angle inside, and if I put that plumb middle of where my camera's going to go, in other words where the lens would fit, you can see that that's not far off. I mean, I've got to put a hood on here yet, so I need to make sure that that's in the center when I come to do it of the viewing platform that I'm going to be left with. But you can see in principle. Another thing that had to redesign was the cardboard. When I put the glue on either side of it to stiffen the cardboard, yes, it did stiffen it up, but I then couldn't get the camera in there. So I've gone back to making another template, and this one's made out of ply, so that fits on there nicely. And I've gone to the effort of putting in some little wedges to lift it so the camera will sit inside. I thought this was a good idea at the time. It's very difficult to put the lens in here, in the camera in there, and get the lens centered. So what I did is I made a small outer cover for where the lens is going to go. So if I trim this hole near enough right, I've got a little bit of leeway. I can go left or right or up and down. So that was a way of getting around trimming the hole exactly where you need it. And I suppose it adds to the aesthetics in the end, really. So I've got to glue that back on. Another little job I'm going to do at the moment is I need to put a hinge on it of some sort. And what I do is use this piano hinge and cut a length out that I require. I've used this idea several times. This is a light box that I made a long time ago, and you see it works quite successfully. And all I did is trim that out of the piano hinge. I'll give you a tip. When you're trying to cut something like this metal, then instead of actually scribing it with a pencil, which you'll find difficult, make sure you get your measurements exactly where you want and put a bit of tape. I'm actually going to cut this using a wood block. So I've got a 90-degree and 45-degree angles on there, and cut it while it lies flat. If you cut it from the top down, you'll find that it will drift off left or right. But putting that in the box and then cutting it, and that will stay pretty straight at 90 degrees.